Hey everyone, Scott Rustrolz here on May 9th with the Listen and Learn podcast for the day. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. Obviously, today turned out to be quite the big news day. After what seemed like a slow news day for much of the day, we got the bombshell this afternoon that President Trump has fired FBI Director James Comey. Now, 24 hours ago, virtually no one in this country was particularly fond of Mr. Comey, whether it was Republicans feeling that he did not go far enough and should have indicted Hillary Clinton and was wrong to publicly disclose that there was investigation into Russia and the Trump campaign, or Democrats who felt like he swayed the election by publicly coming out against Clinton and is the primary reason that Trump is in the White House. James Comey had this incredible ability of making everyone annoyed with every single thing he said. But today, of course, after Trump announced he was firing him, about half of the country has seemingly lost their mind and is now pointing to James Comey as a pinnacle of integrity and suggesting that what President Trump has done is Nixonian, or even worse. Some on Twitter have even called for his ouster. CNN and other outlets have gone crazy. So what we want to kind of do is approach this in a very logical fashion. So why was Comey removed today? Well, I think a big fact that has to be looked into it is that the FBI came out and said that that Comey misstated something very crucial to Congress last week. Last week, James Comey said that Huma Abedin had forwarded hundreds of thousands of emails, many of which were classified, to her husband, Anthony Weiner. Well, that was not true. What she had done, which was still reckless, forwarded a couple of emails to her husband, Weiner, and then also while syncing her BlackBerry, all of her emails got downloaded onto his computer, which again is why he had to send that additional letter just before the election. Now, there's a big difference between repeatedly sending and forwarding emails than having a sync. So the FBI had to clear up that statement again today. So this was the last straw in a series of public statements over really the past year, where Comey has continued to frustrate the American people, frustrate the Congress. He has an approval rating of something like 20%. So there was a lot of cause for ousting him. So that, I think, is a big reason as why they decided today to oust him after really realizing that he had lost the faith of the public and of Congress to effectively lead the FBI in a nonpartisan way, and in a way that ensures that everyone feels trust that they are acting in a balanced way. So with that, next question is, what's going to happen with the Russia investigation? And you are seeing some on the left saying that with Comey gone, that means that Trump is going to end the Russia probe. And that's not going to happen. And here are several reasons why. First, as we've seen over the first 3 months of his presidency, the intelligence community has been leaking like a sieve. If the Trump administration were to shut down the Russia probe tomorrow, we would probably, in the public, find out about it before all the agents found out about it. And if anything, quite frankly, there's no worse way to stonewall the Russia probe than to fire Comey, because the media and the Democrats are going to be focused on this more so than ever. Second, with Comey gone, that temporarily elevates a fellow by the name of Andrew McCabe, who's the deputy director, to the director of the FBI until a new director is nominated by the president and approved by Congress. Who is Andrew McCabe? He is the guy, if you remember from last summer, who was running the Hillary Clinton investigation and who's a lifelong Democrat whose wife was running for state Congress inside of Virginia and received $700,000 in campaign funds from Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, who is a close Clinton ally. So the concern was that McCabe was too close to the Clintons. The fact that he will continue to be running the FBI, this lifelong Democrat, and if anything, a Clinton ally, should alleviate any concerns that the Russia probe will be immediately shut down, because McCabe would not stand for it. It will take at least 2 months from today before a new FBI director could get through Congress. So you know the Russia probe will continue unimpeded for at least the next 2 months, and no matter who is picked to be the FBI director, I'm sure he or she will be forced to tell Congress that they will not be ending the Russia investigation. Plus, the Attorney General Jeff Sessions has recused himself from the Russia probe, so he does not have the power to shut down the Russia investigation or even find out what's going on within it. So when you consider all of these factors, nothing will change with the Russia probe tomorrow versus today without Comey. And if anything, public scrutiny will be higher. So anyone who feels that this is an effort to close down the Russia probe are really getting way ahead of the facts. Now, when it comes to making a replacement pick for Comey, my one piece of advice is that Trump should not pick someone like Chris Christie or Rudy Giuliani. While a guy like Rudy Giuliani would, in my opinion, be an excellent FBI director, given the closeness to the campaign, there will be concerns that he will slow walk the Russia investigation. And I would honestly bet they couldn't get 51 votes in Congress, given some Republican defections. He needs to pick someone who is away from the campaign, who's independent. And my suggestion would be Ray Kelly, who was an excellent New York City police commissioner, brought crime down significantly, is unimpeachable, has a man of high integrity, is well respected by both sides. Frankly, you could even put his successor, Bill Bratton, in as the FBI director. But I think Ray Kelly would be a really excellent choice. And importantly, he knows terror well. And when you consider the fact that the FBI has open terror investigations in all 50 states in this country, you need an FBI director who will be tough on terror and who, by running the New York Police Department, which faces the most terrorist threats of any city, Ray Kelly is uniquely positioned to run the FBI at this time. So that's really what's going on with Comey, and those are the facts as we know it today. And I think, following on from my point on Ray Kelly, the other big story today that is being completely lost is terror-related, and that's that the U.S. may ban electronics bigger than cell phones from being in the cabins on flights from the EU and UK to the United States. So this is essentially the same as the Middle Eastern electronics ban, where you can't use a laptop on the plane because of fears it could be used as an explosive device. And we're now moving that over potentially to Europe, and that could be announced by the end of this week. The fact that we would do that to Europe is a sign that our intelligence agencies are seriously concerned about a credible threat. This obviously makes travel much more convenient. It will annoy, to no small ends, our European allies. And the fact that we would go this far means that there is some serious threats. It's also a reminder of the problems Europe faces, that we have to treat it with the same suspicion as we do the Middle East. And that's what happens when you have 1.5 million migrants come into your countries without any vetting of any kind over the past 3 years. They've lost complete control of their borders. France, remember, the Paris attacks was in 2015. They still remain under a state of emergency. Europe has a terror problem that is yet to get its hand around, and this is one consequence of that. But the fact that we might go this far is a sign that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are still very much a threat. In fact, they've been gaining ground in Afghanistan lately, which is why you saw headlines today that the Trump's cabinet is recommending 5,000 to 6,000 additional troops to Afghanistan. If we do that, we must ensure that NATO provides at least 50% of them. They need to continue to shoulder their fair weight, and it can't be, again, just a U.S.-led mission. If we're going to commit more resources to a 16-year-old war, which is what Afghanistan is, we need NATO support. But unfortunately, Afghanistan remains as problematic as ever, and even though we're beginning to push ISIS back in Iraq and Syria, they're gaining a new foothold in Afghanistan. So that's something to keep an eye on. And the fact that we have this electronics ban potentially coming against Europe in the next few days is a stark reminder that the world is still a very dangerous place. So those are really the big stories of the day. Comey will continue to dominate the headlines for the next 48 plus hours, I'm sure. And it is a major story. It's highly unusual. It's only the second time in the past 40 years an FBI director has been removed. But of course, Comey has been known to have many unique circumstances surrounding him. So this is just perhaps a fitting end to his career. But again, I think everyone needs to damp down the volume a little bit. There's no end to the Russia probe coming anytime soon, and Trump needs to pick someone soon who will to run the FBI, who is independent and who Democrats can't attack as being a lackey. So, hope you enjoyed today's version of the Listen and Learn podcast. Please leave comments in the section below if you like the video. Would love if you'd share it. Maybe subscribe as well so you can be alerted the next time we're posting videos in coming days. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, where we have a page, Listen and Learn Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter as well, @Read and Learn. Have a great night, everyone.